All right, called in order tonight's North Highlands Recreation and Park District regular meeting for September. Approval of the minutes. Do we have, I didn't see anything that,
So moved. I'm sorry. Motion to accept.
I second.
any further discussion?
Director Hardy,
Aye.
Oh, I just,
Director Reynolds,
Aye.
Director Simonenko,
Aye.
Chairperson Williams.
aye.
Motion passed 4-1 with one absent there.
4-0.
4-0. Yay. I'm tired.
You have to work first?
Pat, you recording? You're not on call?
Yeah, no, I'm not on pause
I
this
didn't say
time.
that.
See, no, I'm getting it from both sides. I made one mistake on a recorder, you know, that's the thing. All right, chairperson's report. I really don't have much. I get emails all the time, what goes on here, and everything looks good. I will say, Scott, that sign is phenomenal. Even though I came in here and told you, I'll tell you in front of everyone, it was, to me, even though it's pretty much the same size, I think it's the border makes it, and I think the tree trimming keeps it, it doesn't dangle. Yeah, you can see that thing.
Yeah, it's going to be an effective tool for us.
Yes, yes. And I had, Sarah, one for you was, I saw we still have some slots open for Saturday, or they get filled?
The yard sale?
Yeah, the
We
yard
do. They're starting to trickle in though. I mean, we probably have about 3 today.
Okay, it looked like we only had about 6 or 7.
So add on 3 to that.
Okay.
That's kind of where we're at. And they'll keep coming in. It's typical
Yeah.
that we get.
Hey, but especially for the first one, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna, if I didn't have 2 soccer games, but I'm gonna stop by on my way out to one of them.
That would
But
be
just
awesome.
make it a point to come
We
by
look
and
forward to
see.
seeing you.
Yeah, sure. Throw rocks at me.
Ah.
All right, comments from any fellow board members?
You have actually 3 items on your chairperson's report.
Oh, yeah, I just looked at the wrong one. Yeah, next thing is the 7A, the correspondence that we have there. On the front, it was a mistake. It is really, I mean, if you look at, we have it under new business, under 10E. It's just the name changed from the Oversight Committee to LAFCO. Okay, LAFCO is the correct one.
No,
No.
Yeah.
no, Treasury is correct. What happened was that we did have had LAFCO on last month's agenda, and the correspondence is actually the Sacramento Treasury Oversight Committee Special District representative. However, it's correct on your front page, on your second page under E. It uploaded last month's LAFCO report, and we didn't catch it. So just take what you have on 7A, and that becomes your new 10 new business E.
All right, and the next thing I have to come about is we have a new employee here. Hi, Christine Macero.
Yeah.
Sarah, I will turn that one on to you.
Wonderful. She's been with us for about a month now. Very excited to have her. She spent 16 years working at the California Waterfowl Association, working on hundreds of events up and down the state of California. So she comes to us with a lot of experience, already jumping right in, taking initiative on everything, learning our database, learning the registration software, and helping us maintain that website, which is great. In addition to all the other projects we've passed her way, she's done a great job taking it and running with it. So great fit to the team. We're super excited to have you aboard, and I'm really glad that you're here tonight so that we can introduce you to the board. If you have anything you'd like to say, you can. Otherwise, you can just give us a wave.
I'm gonna give a wave. I gotta go home and feed my kids.
Oh,
It's so nice to meet all of you guys. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Then welcome aboard.
See you tomorrow.
There is another correction on the agenda for number 13. The next board meeting will not be September 9th, right?
It won't, it will be, it won't be.
Yeah, because there's a holiday.
No, September.
It's October.
Oh, you were right, I'm sorry. See, Diane, you're making me nervous sitting out there, you're the pro at this. I'm nervous with you out here, and I don't get nervous.
Thanks, Chris.
So it's October 4th?
It's October 14th.
14th.
I had them all done right.
All right. Now we go to comments from fellow board members. Max, you want to, no comment?
Of course I do. I always want to give a comment.
That's a good thing.
I'm just super grateful to be alive and be here with each and every one of you. I'm no longer representing the Black Child Legacy Hub and Incubator at Liberty Towers. I'm now a hospital social worker, and I'm grateful because just in my short time working with the hospital, there have been so many deaths. And it's just like any day, you know, and even in community, a few community providers and organizers have passed, and it's just like, it just takes a toll on you to really realize and appreciate the value of your breath and just your family. And even though my kids get on my last nerve, my first and my last nerve, I'm just grateful to have them in my life. I'm super loving all of the social media, the activities that are going on, the events that you all are hosting. Amazing work by the team, each and every one of you. And I just wanted to highlight Social Justice Political Corps. They are doing report cards for electeds, for the city and county board of supervisors and city council members. And I just encourage community to participate in that. I'm going to use it as a rubric and as a tool to grade myself and the work that we do here on the board. But it's really a good tool to really encourage folks that are elected to serve community. What's your purpose, your intention, and the outcomes that you want to accomplish and achieve while we serve our neighbors. So thank you for allowing me to share.
Yes, so in November, there will be a neighborhood cleanup here in North Highlands. I'm working with the Red, Black, and Green Environmental Coalition. And I am looking for sites that you may recommend in the North Highlands community that need cleanup. What we're going to, instead of trying to do a wide breadth, we're going to keep folks in like a tight pocket, see how this first one works, and then try to have maybe quarterly, but at least twice a year have cleanup. So just shoot me an email, text message, or a phone call, or if you're driving around, take a couple of pictures and text me the picture, and I'll go over there and check out that site and see if that can be one of the cleanup spots.
Bo, could you email that information to us so we can go ahead and put that on our website? So
Sure will.
You good? Okay. All right, number 5, reports from standing committee. We did have one standing committee. It was program fees and charges.
Do I just? No, actually, they'll come up on the agenda later on.
So that will come up under
Your business.
so. All right, administrator report, Larry.
I've got a bunch of, I don't want to call small items, but those I'm going to go through quickly. I'm not going to touch on all of them, but I did want to share with the board, because we had some previous discussions I had a meeting with SMUD representatives. Susan Lestadi, who is a strategic account advisor for SMUD. We reviewed our previous SMUD work that we did with them and our what am I looking for? Our projects that we did. We did 4 projects with them. In fact, we were the only district in Sacramento County that worked with SMUD. And we did come up with one future item that we'd like to possibly incorporate in the future Sierra Creek Park, and that would be to have the EV, the electronic vehicle charging stations there, which might be a good thing when people are visiting the park. They can park the car there and get a charge while they're visiting the park, because most people go there and will spend a good part of the day. So once we get to the point where we begin construction on the new park, we'll hook up again with SMUD and start working on those details, because likely we will have to incorporate the development of those charging stations into the construction documents. So, but it's something I think that would be a good thing for the community, especially for those who have those vehicles. Also, we met with the Sacramento Tree Foundation with Otto Beck and Rachel Patton. We talked quite a bit about working together and planting lots of trees in Sierra Creek Park as part of that project. And they also would like to work with us on annual tree planting programs in our community. And I told her that there was certainly a board interest in doing that. So we are going to continue those conversations. And in your packet, I put together, I added some maps for the special districts in Sacramento County. You know, without those maps, it's really hard to figure out where all the districts begin and end, because we share a lot of borders with other special districts. So why the map isn't as detailed as we all like, I think it does give you a good understanding of where North Highlands fits in with all the other districts. And as we go on, I think we're going to try to make a slightly better map that provides greater detail. But as you can see, that should be helpful and for you to know where our district is in comparison to other districts. Board of Director photos after tonight's meeting. I'm going to ask the board to kind of hang around a little bit. There's a few of you that we'd like to take some individual pictures to put on our district website. And also, Pat, if you want to hold up that the resolution we got from the County Board of Supervisors. We'd like to take a group photo of that as well, put that on our district website. So we'll do that all at the same time. Also, there was some board discussion about the signboard to possibly do a ribbon cutting or dedication. I don't know if we have to put that on the agenda, but if you want to get back to me and let me know, then I'll talk to Pat, and if that's something that's going to happen, probably the October meeting would be an appropriate time to do that. Board of Directors required trainings. As you are aware that the board is required, as a staff, certain staff, to have ethics and sexual harassment training every 2 years. Besides the CARPD and Sacramento County, we also just registered our board for CARPD CBN, which is commissions and board members. And it's exclusively for you, and there's lots of trainings. In fact, one of their long-term board members has already volunteered to come and do some trainings on special districts to our board, if we would like to take them up on that. I think we would probably want to do that. For next month, just the idea of what the agenda is going to look like. And while it doesn't look like we have a lot of things, most of them they're pretty significant. We have an employee vacation cap hour policy that we'll need to meet with the committee to review. We have Fulton El Camino Police Department presentation from Chief Brown and District Administrator Emily Ballas. And we have the district work project work plan, which I think is going to take up a good part of our meeting. And we also have the park tour, which tentatively I'd like to schedule prior to next month's board meeting, say at 5 o'clock. And if we hear from the state parks about whether we received the grant to build Sierra Creek Park, I think that would be a perfect park to go visit. We can get out and walk the park, and I'll give you site plans to show you where the proposed park amenities and elements will go, and I think that would be perfect. And we're still waiting any day now. We're being told that we're supposed to hear from them, but we haven't yet. And then we'll look at the signboard ribbon cutting ceremony. And just as a last reminder to the board, our November board meeting is normally scheduled for the second Thursday, which would be the 11th of November. That falls on a holiday this year. So the board previously had voted to move that meeting to Thursday, November 4th. So we'll be moving it up a week. It'll be a short time for staff, 1 week less to get the agenda out. So we'll begin working on that as early as next week. And that concludes my report.
I just had the wrong months and stuff. I knew there was something.
Yeah, I have a question, Larry, or more of a statement. So, thank you for having the meeting with us, Sac Tree Foundation. I'm glad that we are getting the ball rolling on that. I would like to see EV charging stations in another location other than Sierra Creek Park. I know that is kind of our vision and our baby, and we're putting a lot of attention to that, but I don't want to forget the other neighborhoods around. So even if it was at Freedom Park, or looking at 2 or 3 other sites that are you know, firmly in the community, I think that would be very helpful. Also, will we be hearing, I know that you guys are in the planning work, but will there be any presentation by SMUD to the board as a whole?
Not at this time. I think we're going to wait until we actually have something we want to put on the table and bring back to the board. And also in regards to your comments about other locations for the EV stations, we did talk about that, but one of the things that the SMUD brought up to us is that when we consider other options, we have to look at, you know, the availability of being able to install those and have the proper electronic or, you know, type of connections. That's what made Sierra Creek so an easy site to pick, is because we can build those underground utilities into the project. But no, we're not just limiting just to that. But one of the things we also want to find out, and SMUD said they would help us with it, is try to determine how many EV vehicles are actually in our district, because and if we can find out where they're located, and sounds like there's a way for SMUD to kind of determine that. That will help us kind of look at future sites. And the reason we look at Sierra Creek, besides one, is it's not constructed yet. The second is that it's centrally located, and we know that when people use their electric vehicles, if they can go and leave it there for a certain period of time, they're going to get that full charge. And most people go to a park and they spend more than 15, 20 minutes as opposed to going to the grocery store. But just so you know, we have not ruled out other sites. We just need to take a look and see where possibly the demand is going to be.
And one comment to your last point. Let's flip that on its head. What if we ask the question, not where are they located, but where are we not seeing electronic vehicles? Putting the charging stations in that area and working with SMUD and some other groups around. I know they have rebates and other incentives for folks to get into an electronic vehicle. And so most people are going to say, oh, I don't want my vehicle, or there's no charging stations around. What if we actually put it there? Kind of like if we build it, they will come. If they see it more and make it more accessible, maybe we can help get more EV equipment here.
Yeah, I think that's a good conversation that we want to continue with SMUD. I will say this, and I don't think the board is aware of it, but a number of years ago when I commuted to my job in the Bay Area, I actually had a natural gas Honda Civic. And that's when they first came out. And the charging stations, but filling stations were far and few between. In fact, I had to go to the local PG&E station to fill up. And it was kind of what they call a card lock. You get a card to enter to go be able to do this. And then they came out with, you could put these same units in your garage. The problem with it is the cost was, in the beginning, was pretty insurmountable. You know, who was going to spend $8,000 to put something in their garage when, you know, they start pricing out how long it's going to take to get the payment back. But, you know, we had a good conversation about this. I don't think we're close to being done talking to SMUD about it. It's just that when she brought up that issue about potential new locations, and she mentioned new parks, that, you know, naturally we gravitated towards Sierra Creek. But I think as we get further into this and we get more information, what's available, because one thing we don't want to do, we don't want to put something out there that no one's ever going to use, because then it's just a matter of time before it gets vandalized like many other things. But no, I think it's something that we as a district, we should strongly want to consider. And again, if there's more than one location for a need out there where people can go and charge their vehicle, you know, in a place where they're likely to be there for a while, that's something we should certainly look at.
And we just don't want to be like a state entity I used to work for that builds all these and 2 vehicles. I'm just saying, state's got money, I guess.
I know there's the California Special District. Does Dr. Mehta do anything in particular for these 8 districts together? Do we convene? Do we meet? Do we talk about best practice? Like, do we ever come together?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we do it in this way. We have, prior to COVID, which, you know, almost every conversation starts with prior to COVID, during COVID, or after COVID. We haven't got there quite yet. There are 8 special districts in Sacramento County, but there, I believe, are 4 more that are kind of satellite districts that are right next to us, such as Auburn Recreation Park District, not that far away. And they frequently participate as part of the Sacramento group. Prior to COVID, we would, the administrators would meet 4 times a year, every quarter, and we would meet at a various district location. We'd invite guest speakers, and that's actually how we found out about the original SMUD program, because we had a presentation by SMUD to, Scott probably might remember this, to retrofit or bring in, build new softball complexes, or new lighting for new softball complexes. The company that SMUD brought on board failed miserably, didn't follow through, and it kind of tanked. But we had already sent out an interest to SMUD to say, if you had something like this in the future, then we would like to talk to you. And as Diane probably certainly remembers, they came to us and made a presentation to us, and we saw the possibilities of not only retrofitting our facilities with LED, and a softball complex was completely retrofitted, all those lights out there, and saved thousands and thousands of dollars. But the rooms you're in now, the parking lot outside, everything has been retrofitted. So yeah, that came from one of those meetings. Now, honestly, we tried meeting several times via Zoom. It was hit and miss. We're all hoping that we could get back together so we start meeting on a quarterly basis again, because great things happen when you get people that have similar interests working together. And we still do it by email or by phone, but we do miss those meetings because a lot of good things came out of those, and so we hopefully we'll resume them as soon as possible.
And then, so when we were campaigning, running, there was an opportunity to purchase like a list of constituents in the district. Does the district office have a list of consumers, or is the list of constituents that you keep, are they just of the people that enroll and register within your district?
Well, and again, Terry and Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the type of list that you're talking about are going to be lists of people who have signed up for recreation programs and registered online, because we're able to keep a database of those people. I can't think of anything else where we keep a regular list of so it's generally tied into the interest of programs and facility rentals and those kind of things with the district. So I think that's probably it.
Okay. And my last question, by any chance, and I'm so glad you were able to share with me the unspoken understanding and agreement that all of the districts kind of have to respect their boundaries and who they advertise to. I was wondering, when we're starting programs or having opportunities, and I know before Twin Rivers would pass out flyers and materials, have we reached out to their communications team to advertise what we are offering?
I'll let Sarah respond to that.
We have, but the school year just started, so we haven't sent them anything at this time.
But that has been our policy, is that through the schools, the schools actually set the criteria. For instance, some schools want you to break them out exactly how many are in every classroom, put the teacher's name on it, you got to go into the classroom's block. It's a lot of work. We don't just drop off 1,000 flyers at every school and just keep our fingers crossed that they make it out. But since I've been here, and I think it's pretty standard policy in parks and recreation districts and agencies altogether, is that we work cooperatively with the schools, because it is an inexpensive means to get our information out to the public. And I will tell you that there's a lot of statistics out there will tell you that for every 100 flyers that are given to the students in the school, probably 90% of them will be blown around the campus because they get dropped off. We're aware that it's not 100%. But we always have to look at every opportunity we can to advertise our activities.
Well, I want to share with you that Twin Rivers is sending text messages now and emails, and not just flyers, but I just wanted to ask, because I get text messages from them darn near every day about something going on, a workshop, an event. We've even advertised it for, well, both of them, advertised, but just wanted to throw that out, that is an option for us to connect with the school districts, and the families that we serve. But thank you for this map, it's very helpful.
Let me add one more thing.
Sure.
The flyer distribution takes 3 to 4 hours worth of work to put together because we have to section it, like Larry was saying, by class, by school, by grade. So we're not just printing and the
Right.
cost of ink and the cost of paper. It's the 3 to 4 hours of putting the packets together and then another hour distributing them to the individual schools.
Yeah, that's why we would recommend the flyer. I mean, if you guys have the data and statistics, it's not worth it in that sense. But that's what I'm saying, there's now the text, the calls, and the emails that they saw.
I'm going to put my old school board member hat on for a second, and I will say this up front, the rules have certainly probably have changed since I was last on school board 8 years ago. But I will say this, school districts by law don't pass out emails to parks and recreation districts or other agencies because there's I can't remember what the law is, there was some state law that for protection. Now that could have changed now, but the schools in general are very protective of the emails and other means of communication. So that's why they allow us to pass out flyers. Ideally, we'd love to have their database of all their families and their kids. It'd make it a lot easier and a lot cheaper to get the information out. But I'll have Sarah check with the Twin Rivers and Center Unified to see what their policies are and see if they've changed.
I mean, no, that does sound like a good idea. I wrote that down. That's a good idea, mass texting. But I just see how it could invade people's privacy. You know, what are you doing with my email? You know,
But we'll certainly check and find out.
All right, we'll move on to maintenance reports. Scott.
Well, outside of my written report, I would like to update. The drinking fountain project at Ridge Point Park has been complete. We now have a functioning ADA compliant high-low unit with a third weight basin for four-legged friends. And while he's here, I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize the efforts of our facility maintenance supervisor. Most of our new board members haven't met Sean in person. You certainly read his name in most of my board reports, but Sean is the young man in the back row there. And Sean headed up this project, and it was not an easy project to complete in the time frame in which it was completed. We moved the water line some 250, 300 feet from one side of the turf area to the other, closer to the playground. You can see in the pictures that a new concrete pad was poured to hold the unit. We created DG pathways for both sides of the playground, so everyone has access to that to the drinking fountain. And we are very, very pleased with the way the project turned out. So kudos to Sean and the rest of the maintenance team that participated in that project. And we're looking forward to the neighbors being able to use that. So other than that, that's all I have to add.
One quick question. So now the pad, I see the pad in picture number 2. You said that's on both sides?
There's a pad that comes off the Tipwood Street side, which would be to the left of that picture, and this one runs parallel to the play structure itself. And they just join together and they feed into the water fountain.
DT.
DG, decomposed granite.
Decomposed granite. Got it. Thank you.
When it's loose, it looks like sand, but when you compact it, it's like walking on a concrete base. It's ADA compliant. It's a inexpensive way to put in compliant surface, and it's very, very hard.
Question, Scott.
Yes.
Can you give us an update on the car accident? And were we held responsible? What was?
That particular case is actually still in litigation.
Yeah, I think because it's still in litigation, I would suggest that if we need to have a closed session meeting, we could update the board in the future about that. But right now, I would probably not want to comment since there's a potential lawsuit.
I understand, but I would like more information on that.
Absolutely.
All right. That's all I have.
See, full El Camino was quiet.
A little bit more quiet, yeah. They were busy the last week or two, though.
Just kudos to y'all. Y'all move really fast. You have a really efficient, effective team. I don't know how many y'all are making this magic happen, but I'm excited. I remember I saw we went to the park, Rich Point Park, and I'm like, dang, the basketball hoop or this, and then like, come to a board meeting and it's done. So I just wanted to tell you, thank you so much, you and Sean and all the folks involved.
It's the maintenance crew that's out there, they're really the ones that make it happen. They're coming here and day out, they really do a good job, and they work hard for me, so they're the ones that really got that job done, so.
Great.
Thank you.
Nothing else, and we'll go to rep report, Ms. Sarah.
Outside of my written report, I don't have any updates, so I will take questions if there are any.
Of course. So the Raccoon Club store,
Yes,
is that voluntarily funded or?
we take money, we use the budgeted monies to purchase trinkets and whatnot.
I'm just, okay.
That you can buy from our store.
We have to get raccoon.
I'm just trying to help the Raccoon Club.
I know you are.
You know,
We'll take it.
you're lucky I don't go in your office, I spend a lot in hers.
We're gonna do a little inventory, but
I've heard that.
you'll hear from me.
Okay.
Sarah, could you give me a call, maybe tomorrow, so we can talk more, so I can get your payment for sponsoring, basketball night?
So I sent you an email, it's over. The Whoopin' Gym ended in August.
Okay. And when does it come back online?
We're not sure, it really depends. We're looking at the seasons and what is going on. Right now, it's not happening on Mondays in September because of football. We won't get a good turnout. Thursdays are no good because of football. And looking at practice schedules for surrounding AAU teams and stuff like that really dictate what's going to give us the most success. So once we kind of establish what day is going to be best, we'll look into potentially starting it back up. But it might be some time because we've got programs coming in the fall.
Okay. I would still be interested in how I can incentivize or sponsor more participation in those. And as I mentioned, the cleanup in November, I was also hoping to maybe come up with some little tickets or something where if you come out and actually do the cleanup, it would get a free gym day or whatever. So let's have a further discussion so we can figure out what the program is, what works around that time, how it can be beneficial to get more folks in, and maybe people who just don't have the money.
Did you have something?
Yeah, I love the incentives. It's super cool. I love even the money economy that kind of you creating. So what do you really want to earn? Can you save your bucks enough? So I like all of that goes with it. I'm interested to hear about any chance, any activities for our high schoolers, our 9th to 12th graders, our older students at all. Any collaborations with the school district coming up or anything like that for the older students?
Not at this time. Not this time. Doesn't mean there can't be anything in the future, but we're a two-person operation, so we're doing our best to put on what is the traditional, and anything outside of that, we work hard to accomplish.
I understand. How was the basketball open gym? What was the participation like?
It was pretty good. I realized that's actually a good question. I did not add it into here. We had a really good turnout. We averaged about 10 to 15. I think 15 was our highest number. So.
And are AAU teams or other organizations that may run basketball or other clinics or programs, how can they use the gym if it's not being used?
They rent it.
They can rent it. So they will go through the process of renting for a certain time period.
Yeah, they currently do that.
It's quite popular, so we get inundated with requests to use the gym. And it's always a balance between making sure that we can do that, but at the same time have space for our programs as well.
Understood. Is it being used or rented now?
Yes.
I mean, like for a sports team or something.
Yes, it's a Saturday. We've got a group in there.
Nothing on Monday? No, I'll connect with you all and share that information. Could we also put something like that online? Like when we're talking about renting the community center for events and activities, could we also offer that organizations or folks? I don't know if I've seen that. Like that they're, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was, as soon as we opened back up post-COVID, we did a post about it, and I get calls very frequently. And it's from our typical clients that we've worked with for many years. So we keep it, it's busy, but, you know, a lot of teams are slow starting because there's regulations bouncing back and forth.
Do they only practice here, or are there games here as well?
There are games and tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But thank you so very much. Again, I'm super excited about the upcoming event. The senior movie night. How was that? I wasn't invited because I'm not wise enough yet. So how was it?
It was great. It's senior movie day, so they come in on the first and the third Wednesday. Prior to COVID, it was just once a month, so we added an additional day. But it was really good. We had a really good turnout, fried green tomatoes. Next Wednesday will be our next one. Do you remember what the movie was? I don't either. We're trying to play some classics. Rental costs for movies have tripled since we last had them, so we are working on figuring out that portion of it, but
I hate I missed that. The town in which it's set, got off to Georgia, that's where I went to school.
Oh.
College.
okay.
Yeah. Well, you guys are actually like ordering movies. You're not like on your Netflix or Hulu account. We're like really.
We are, I mean, so I use my Prime to purchase a movie this week. We've done Redbox in the past. It's just a matter of where you can find it. I mean, most of the places are subscription based, so we either jump in both feet and pay $175 for Hulu and HBO, or you pay $5 to stream a movie on a non-subscription service. So we're weighing options and looking at what's going to be best, but we're trying to get feedback from the participants and what they'd like to see. Historically pre-COVID, it was a lot of new release movies. We grabbed them from Redbox, but we tried out some of the classics, and we got a really good buzz from Fried Green Tomatoes. So we're working on just getting feedback from the folks that have come and from our Harvest Time group and the bingo goers to look into what's going to be most popular.
I forget it. Y'all are a small team because you do such amazing, magnificent work. It's like it must be a team of 15 or so. It's just y'all.
You would think.
Yeah, I'm blown away though.
Team going. Yeah, please.
Honestly,
If don't give too much kudos, they might ask for a raise.
Hey, I mean.
They deserve it.
Oh, we captured that. We did.
No further questions. 7A's moved over to 10G, so we're there. By 3 o'clock today, we had no comments or reports from any citizens or organizations. So now, no unfinished business, so we'll start off with new business. Sacramento County Sheriff's Department's request to install a shop spotter, and that is Scott. This is going to be yours.
Thank you, Pat. Back in late August, we were approached by the senior project manager of a company that's partnering with the Sacramento Sheriff's Department. The request was a simple one. They wanted to add a sensor here at our office location to add to their grid of sensors around the entire area. So I took their proposal to Larry. Larry thought it approved to include the board on this discussion. I won't go into too many of the details because we actually have some representatives from both the company that installs the sensor and from the Sheriff's Department. So there's Mr. Chan, and I know we have a detective, Lieutenant Silva, and one other gentleman that you could introduce yourself when you come up to the podium, that are here to talk about their proposal and answer any questions you might have on that. And at the end of that, we'll, the board will need to vote on it moving forward.
Okay.
Gentlemen?
Good evening. Hello. I'm Lieutenant Dustin Silva. I'm the officer commander for our North Division. The unidentified individuals, Captain Dan Morrissey, and this is Mr. Chan, who's with the Shop Spotter organization. So, what we're doing is we've already partnered with Shop Spotter in different areas throughout the county. It's been an ongoing, I think, probably since about 2015. We've been very successful in our south area. And so we're expanding that into the north area. And the way we go about it is it's a precision locating device. Basically, it'll put us right. Anytime it hears shots fired, it'll direct deputies directly to that spot. I think they give a margin of error of a few meters, but from experience, I've found it puts us right on the shell cases. It has a bunch of advantages. Number one, if no one was hit, if it's just if we only get there and no one's there, we get to locate and recover the shell casings. I think we've had 28 different cases where those shell casings were able to identify and connect to other crimes. If somebody is hit, we only receive calls on about 15% of shots fired. That's one of the things that we learned is 85% of the time no one calls when they hear gunshots. So we're getting those extra calls. And we've actually gone out and been able to locate people who were injured. We were able to liberate. In the South area, we've also had on 16 different occasions in 2020 where we actually led directly to an arrest. So that doesn't sound like a real high number, but if you realize that it's a very, very, very small portion of the population that's actually out committing gun crimes, 16 people is a big chunk of that. So that is actually a very big number. That was just for calendar year 2020. The way it works is we put out sensors throughout a given area, and they're put on privately owned properties, government-owned buildings, and we're able to use those to actually direct us directly to where the gunshots came. And that's actually what we're tonight is this building was identified as a place that would be very helpful, so we're going to ask for permission to do that. Mr. Chin with ShotSpotter actually brought in the equipment that would be installed. So don't ask me to explain it.
This goes on the rooftops, obviously, on the pole, about 7 feet above the roof line. When we install, we don't drill into rooftops, try not to damage anything. We put in a non-penetrating stone with cinder blocks, so it acts as a ballast. And we hook it to power with a transformer. It's basic, from high voltage to low voltage, this runs on 24 DC. So it's about 50 feet apart. That's all it is. It takes about an hour to install.
So one of the challenges that we have in law enforcement, obviously, is what we call the dark number of crime, which there's a large portion of crimes that occur that we just never hear about. And what Lieutenant Soul was talking about with respect to we are only getting notified about 15% of the time. That's for a variety of different reasons. One, you have people that are living in an area, and in our first area that we stood up in 2018 through 2020, through 2017 through 2018, we found some very significant things. And when the company first said that like 85% of your time you're not going to know that a gunshot was heard, I was thinking to myself, in my neighborhood, I would pretty much know. But really what it came down to is a lot of people outside of the movies don't really know what a true gunshot sounds like. They think it could be a car backfire, it could be fireworks, or they think, I don't want to tell somebody and be the person responsible for filing a police report, or somebody else is probably already called, which is typically the biggest one. On top of that, the biggest problem that we have from that is when people do call, they don't really know what general location is. Nobody's really seeing it. It's a general area. With this, it gives us the ability to respond. So the way their system works is the system is monitoring. It has the gunshot gets detected. The artificial intelligence at their system automatically processes that, looking for an acoustic signature that matches a gunshot. Then it goes to their incident review center, where somebody is actually mans that 24/7, 365 days a year. And a technician actually goes through and listens to that, says, yes, that's a gunshot, or no, it's not. And if it is a gunshot, they automatically route that to our communications center, which we then instantly dispatch. So one thing that we've seen is a significant reduction in time. Instead of waiting on 911, we're getting an instant notification that we have shots fired in a location, and we can get people there significantly faster. For us, that has been a huge piece of our puzzle, because we're really trying to identify the crime guns and gun violence, getting to those casings before they're destroyed, getting those casings where we would never have found them in the first place because they just said they have to go over there instead of we have an 80-meter area to look at here is a significant difference for us. So for us, it's a partnership with the community, obviously, because the faster we get someplace, the faster we can save people, the faster we can hopefully identify bad guys that are causing problems in the area. And more importantly, when people start realizing that we're responding that quick, typically things start changing and that becomes very well known. Thank you.
I'll start off with some questions I got here. I like the idea, but I come from a law enforcement side, a different end, so it's okay. But when we say you put these on the buildings, is it on a couple buildings that we have here, or are we going to do, like I wrote here, are we going to do one across the street so you can try and triangulate it? Is that?
So we've identified a place throughout the area that we want this set up. For you guys, it's just this one building. There are other sensors throughout the surrounding areas, but yeah, as far as you guys.
So it'll reflect, it'll hear the shot, where it's located then.
Correct.
Okay, so it won't say, oh, it came northeast of the community center. So, okay. So that one. Mr. Chan, correct?
Yes.
So with it up on the roof, how accessible for vandalism?
You guys have a secure building, so if no one gets up there except your maintenance guys, it should be secure.
We don't think I'm trying to ask. I think the question in my head is not coming out what I'm trying to. But so is it easy? Could it easily be removed, or?
Yes, if somebody can get on the roof, it can easily be removed.
Okay.
It's not locked down or secured to the building,
Right.
To a parapet or anything. It's just sitting there.
The original proposal was to place the unit on top of the community center building. There's no ladders or
It's inside access only.
Yeah,
Correct.
there is a trapdoor, if you want to call it that the staff uses to get up there. And he just mentioned too, it'll be on poles.
Well, I think that's right where I was going. My mind's just going. Because then my last question I had, you said that it was you, Captain. Instantaneously, they hear the shot, and instead of waiting for that 911, are we talking within 60 to 90 seconds? That tech can hear, yeah, that was, and it was here, or?
From the point where the artificial intelligence runs to identifying it as a potential activation to the incident review center to our comm center is typically about 60 seconds.
You can put one on in my house. I don't live down the street, you can put one on my house. I hear them all the time out here, so. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's all I had. No, I
like that idea,
I think it's question.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm definitely in support of this.
Oh, hold on.
Elisa Rickman.
Okay.
All right, I am in support of this because of my experience in working with the Black Child Legacy and knowing that third-party homicide is one of the leading causes of death in our communities. Sacramento's going through a major, I don't think they were talking about it as much as they could, but there's definitely some gang and tension and things going on. Gun violence is on a rise. It's happening in our communities. You may not hear about it, but it's happening. And that is so true. I don't know the difference between a gunshot, a car. Around our neighborhood, we get bangs all the time. I'm like, is that a, and then that's a thing. And then I am a victim of gun violence. I got shot in my foot, and I am tripped. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, a little nervous. So I definitely agree with everything you all said and the points you made. I think having it here at a park is ideal. Prime real estate. This is somewhere we would want someone to respond fast because of our children, our schools right there. So I definitely agree. Is this similar to the spot shotters that are in the city?
Yes.
They're at the blue light poles or a little different?
No, those are their police observation devices. Those actually are not the shot spotter. The city actually has shot spotter in what's their south area, which our initial contract with shot spotter was in our central division. So we actually ordered that to create one giant area, which has been very, very effective. But those devices are IP cameras with, some have license plate recognition, some do not, but those are actually not the same. These you'll see spread across the city area, well, they're on light poles and some other telephone poles and stuff like that.
All right, and then I've heard that there's been an increase of ghost guns on the street. Is there, would you call it acoustic there, sound? Is it similar to a gunshot? Like, what, is it also detected?
No, but you're super smart for even knowing that exists. No, so the challenge that we have with ghost guns, for those of you who don't know what a ghost gun is, it's called a personally manufactured firearm, and it is one of our biggest challenges that we're having right now, because you can basically, through the internet, you can actually build a firearm and have a completely operational firearm. But the challenge is that they're doing it in the standard calibers of 22, 9mm, 45, 40 caliber. So the sound is exactly the same. There's no difference. That is a big challenge. Understanding what the really size of that problem is really perplexing a lot of federal agencies and us at this point, as we're getting ready to go through and inventory our entire all the guns that were in our possession, just to figure out how many we actually truly have that we don't know about. Because one of the challenges, if you have a firearm, having the serial number obliterated compared to having never had a serial number are two different things.
I have one, just a statement, and Sarah, I'm going to ask you and Diane to help me because I can't remember. I took a mind blank. What is the name of the Facebook group for North Highlands and Antelope?
Oh, there's several
All
of
right,
them.
so
Good neighbors.
I think that's, I signed up for that a year ago because it helps me better understand what's going on in the community. But over the weekend, since we knew the shot spotter was going to be on the agenda, I started paying a little bit closer attention. 6 times in just the last several weeks, people have complained about gunshots at nighttime. And again, exactly what you said. Was that a gunshot I just heard, or somebody has fireworks out there again? And I thought, this is exactly why this device is going to come in handy, because it can differentiate between those. And that's got to be, I think, a real plus for the community, especially as you said, that you can be out there. I mean, literally within 60 seconds, you know you have a gunshot or something different. And I did look at the videos, and I did do some research on it. And yeah, I did read some comments from people who had questions that didn't seem to really tie into what shot spotter was and what it can do. But the overwhelming feedback that I got, and it wasn't coming from just law enforcement, was communities felt safer. They felt that there was something else in this community that maybe could become a deterrent to gun violence and gunshots. So there's a lot of information out there if you take the time to go and do some research on it. But just in our small community here, on one Facebook page, I think it was 6 reports about this gunshots just in 2.5 weeks. I'm sure there was much more than that.
There's a little, yeah.
Like I said, I hear it all the time.
And just to answer the question I think that Pat had, and of course Sean's here, and he is our facility supervisor, so he knows these buildings better than anybody. We don't have, it's not easy access for somebody just to get up on top of our buildings, and I can't remember in the nearly 8 years I've been here that we've had issues of people being on top of the building. So I think it does present you know something I don't, Diane?
Not since you've been
Oh,
here,
okay.
but it probably was a couple of years before you. The reason why we don't have Christmas decorations or as many on top of the community center,
People were stealing.
someone came up and needed our Christmas.
Well,
The
first of all,
district liked more than the district did.
Someone from the public would have to know what that device is, and if they could even see what that device
Yeah.
is. So I would say, I would think it's a relatively safe location to put it, and we certainly support the idea of doing that if that's what the board would like to see.
I have one thing.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Gene. Thanks.
So prior to COVID, I reached out to your department to do a ride-along. All right, have you guys started back doing ride-alongs yet?
We have not. We just, we were almost there a couple months ago, and that's when the outbreak came, and so, yeah, they're completely shut down. But give me your email or something, we'll get in touch with you, and anytime as soon as we get going.
Yes, it would make me a lot more comfortable when you guys come to us to ask for a partnership, to really put your perspective in where I can see it in a location and really understand it. It would make me feel much more comfortable in representing my folks.
Yeah, I'll get you information sometime.
Yeah, why we can't really get the ride-alongs, because we actually discourage two officers riding together sometimes. But one thing, if you're interested in it, because of this topic, if you want to go out there and talk to the warehouse, we can actually give you a tour of what our forensic side looks like when it comes to the ballistic testing that we're using on the casings and stuff. So you can reach out to Lieutenant Silva, and he can facilitate that for you.
You got contact.
And what's the maintenance on the box? Like, how long does it stay up there? For how long? Does someone need to like recalibrate it or weather?
No, hardly needs visits. It's a remote device, we can log into it remotely, and that's how they do their maintenance. I'm a technician, so I only come out when it goes bad or loses power or something, then I come out. Some sites I don't go for many years. It works.
Yeah, Diane Richards, district resident from North Highlands, being a longtime resident living on the northern part of the district property. Is there opportunity to get these kind of devices in the Antelope area or the northern part of the North Highlands area, like maybe on top of the pump house or the snack shack at Rock, and maybe on top of the gym out at K Park?
Well, part of the challenge is that they have to work together, so they have to be somewhat networked together. One device by itself doesn't solve the solution, so we actually have to do mile blocks is is how we do this. So we're doing 2 miles here and then 1 mile up in the Howe area too. So individual locations we can't really do, but maybe one day we can keep spreading that way to Antelope.
Yeah, I think with Brock and K Park, that is within 2 miles. So that at least there would work, and since we do have unsavory fights and vandalism that happens in that area, that would work.
Is there a cost to the district to install it? What? $399?
I mean, if you want to take some.
That is negative.
Yeah, no, it's just the use of the property, that's it.
We don't get a free get out of jail card?
Does it increase our property value?
Yeah, motion, something?
Go ahead. I'll make the motion.
Second. Any further discussion?
Director Harding? Aye. Director Reynolds?
Aye.
Director Simonenko?
Aye.
Chairperson Williams?
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0 with 1 absent.
Good. Yeah, it's gonna be a good tool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Silver, can you leave us this regard if
My email address
Sherry's probably writing it down.
is D as in David Silva @sacksheriff.com. Yeah, reach out to me anytime, get any questions.
Are you gonna see Captain Dutra tomorrow at all, maybe?
No, I was texting him earlier today.
I remember his dad.
Yeah.
Used to live next door when I was a little kid, with my mom and dad. They moved when Carol was pregnant, they moved up to Rockland. So, yes, I just did, well, I can't, this is my different time. So, but thank you for coming.
I'll let him know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll do New business B, board director recognition. That's what I can't remember talking about.
Well, I think it's appropriate for the chairperson to do this, but I will certainly would like to kind of frame this a little bit. I think it's well known that our district has, for many years, had very little turnover from our elected officials. And when we did, we had people who were appointed. I think, Pedro, you were appointed, correct?
Good.
And Diane, you were
I was
appointed as well, and
yeah.
had several elections. And at the last election, we had a change in our board. And as I think it's well known that Diane and Pedro are no longer on the board. And also we had our longtime board member, Alan Matre, who served the board for 25 years. I believe Alan is in Southern California now because he let us know he would not, unfortunately, be able to attend. But we thought it was appropriate since they offered so much and brought so much to our district and to our community to do something, even if it's a small thing, and that is to provide a recognition for their years of service and everything that they brought to this community. Pat has several plaques, and Pat, if you would like to read those and maybe share a little bit about how long Diane and Pedro have been on the board, that would be great.
I'll start with the new kid on the block. Pedro, in recognition of your many years of visionary guidance, exceptional leadership, unconditional commitment, served as member of the North Highlands Recreation Park District Board from January 12th of 2017 until November 12th of 2020. I'm not going to get teary-eyed speech, so I'm just going to... But they had an opening with Pedro. It was me, Pedro, and Cindy's, I can't think of his last name. We all interviewed to come on the board because we had a board vacancy, and Pedro took it over me for that time. So I still got a little grudge on it, but so I want to personally say, yeah, let me come off around. That one.
Yeah, I'm gonna get your picture. You go up there in the middle.
Apologize if you're tired, just coming off football practice,
And Pedro, if you would like to, if you want to remove your mask temporarily for the photo, that's up to
Oh,
us. I'll leave it up to you.
For me, like that, sure.
I'll just stay right there.
Good to see you again.
Don't forget your wrapper.
Your wrapper.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Good to see you.
Oh, you bet, thank you.
The next one, Miss Diane, she was from September 20th of 2000 to November 12th of 2020. Diane taught me a lot. I listened to Diane. I used to come to these meetings when there was just me in here listening to everything. But I listened to her and then I asked her for advice on a lot of things. She had some good input for me. That's why I wanted to get on the board. This board was a family. This board was tight. It was a good board. And Diane, I want to congratulate you for your service. And 20 years. Diane's 20 years?
20 years.
20 years.
Wow.
Did you get the sheet over for there?
Okay, sorry.
And what do you hear? You have some sheet for
That's okay for you. You can do it.
But
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you get one for the district?
Okay.
Yeah.
This is.
But thank you very much for your time.
It was an honor and a pleasure.
It was.
It was so fun to see all the changes. Oh, I am so hoping that Prop 68 grant comes through. I've been waiting since 1975 for Cedar Creek to get developed. So it's like, oh my gosh, I just hope it's that money. But Freedom Park. I remember my dad being in the service, having picnics there when the base was commission, and then for the district to get that property and be on the board when the district got the property deeded over. It was just incredible, and to see the public just constantly use that park the way they do, and the fight that we had to put up and to get that property so McClellan Park wouldn't be in control of it was something else for this community. So I'm happy to be part of that, happy to be part of the playground equipment grant that we got for Streisand Park, another excellent opportunity, Cherry Creek. So, and then all the annual events over the years, the holiday party, Halloween party, one of my favorites, Easter egg hunt, another one of my favorites. So and then the crab feed. Crab feed's just incredible. So hopefully we can, get the swim team reinstated, have that the best in Sacramento. Let me tell you, I've been to a lot of crab feeds, and that is the best one.
I just would like to make a comment about that. So the new board, because I'm looking for someone to step up, because one of the things Diane is known for, when we have special events, she just didn't show up to the special event. She dressed for the occasion. You would frequently see her in costumes, and she really seemed to enjoy not just the activity, but participating in the activity. And I also wanted just to say, too, that Diane was a member of the board when I was actually hired going on 8 years ago. And, it was a special time. And, having been on a board before in my career, several boards, we all come and we go, we're replaced by others, and someday people will replace all of us. And I just wanted to say I appreciate the legacy that you and Pedro and Alan left this district. I think you left it in a good position, and we have a new exciting board with new board members, new ideas. And like I said, Max, I think we got a costume for you that just might fit. How do you think about Easter bunny?
Easter.
Oh, Santa Claus.
I do that.
We can help you out. But Diane, I want to say thank you very much, because you were a joy to work for while I was here.
You're a pleasure to work with. I mean, the whole staff, my fellow board members over the years. It's been incredible. The district has a very good reputation down at the County Auditor Controller's Office. I worked there the first time I tried running for the board, and I mean, everybody across payroll, payment services, special districts account. I mean, no bad words, just everything really good. And we've had excellent district administrators over the years, and I am so happy we got to, Larry, with your experience, because you just brought some incredible experience that has been helpful during these tough times.
Well, I'd like to point out that I'm the second longest serving administrator in this district for the last 40 plus years. Of course, the first one served almost 40 years.
Yeah. Yay. Oh. Yeah.
That was a little while.
Little continuity there.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Oh, we get a picture of both of you.
Okay, you want us holding our,
Sure, up against the wall would be great, underneath that nice can light there.
I miss all the artwork.
No.
Yes.
This is grass.
Not to mention all the decorations you did. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Check out our website, you'll be on there soon.
All right.
Thank you, Diane. Go Cougars.
Thank you.
We'll be out there tomorrow night.
All right.
Who do you play tomorrow night?
Fairfield. Fairfield.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
They're traditionally not very good.
All right, thanks, Pedro.
Thank you all, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we're gonna move on. Bo just stepped out for a second. Iowa Bo, new business scholarship program fund. That was Max.
Yeah, so we met with staff, thank you so much, and pretty straightforward. I don't know, do I read it through or just submit?
Whatever you'd like to do.
I would just recommend to adopt this or approve this. The refund policy and the scholarship program.
We do need to take those as separate votes because there's some staff reports.
So we have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there similar to you or just my read?
No, well, I guess, well, you're gonna have to start off by making a motion on one. We'll do one at a time, right?
Yes, you can make take one, ask for a motion in a second. And then we'll do-
So I'll make a motion for
You
refund.
don't discuss first or ask first?
After the
motion?
second, then you can, yeah.
Then we'll do a discussion before the count.
So you motion,
No motion yet, for refund policies, revision.
the refund or the
Which one?
Which one's the first one?
scholarship?
Was that, hold on, sorry.
No, on yours.
Scholar, it's, program. C, scholarship program policy.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, further discussion. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to ask, I was trying to see if it was saying, when I read it, if there will be, it says that the district staff will look into it. We will receive an opportunity to review what comes up, like what is developed? Will we have an
Is the-
opportunity?
The policy is as written is what will follow.
Okay.
So you, when you approve the policy,
Yes.
you'll get a copy of the policy to put in your policy manual, and we'll tell you exactly where it goes in your policy manual.
That's all I was asking.
Yeah.
Got it, thank you.
Do you want me to now or will we wait?
We have a motion and a second.
Well, we had the motion.
We've got three.
You got your motion and a second, so I need a vote.
Okay. Director Harding?
Aye.
Director Simonenko?
Aye.
Okay. Chairperson Williams?
Aye.
Motion passed 3-0 with 2 absence.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve scholarship program.
I second. Refund.
Refund policy.
Sorry.
You just,
Okay,
So
any
funding, is it, wait, it's the one that says funding?
district fund, right?
Yeah, district fund policy.
could I just make a comment about this one before you make a motion? Just briefly, this is a cleanup policy. The policy is already in existence. It's just like anything else when sometimes we get a chance to come back and look at it and reflect and we like to do some cleanup. So this one here, hopefully, there's not a lot of major changes, they're mostly minor changes, but what it provides is cleanup language and hopefully when the public looks at our refund policy, it will make a little bit more sense to them and easier to follow and understand. So this isn't a new policy, it's just a cleanup of an existing policy.
Revision.
Revision, thank you.
I think the revision's much better. All right, any further discussion?
No.
Director Harding? Aye.
Motion second.
Second is Crystal did.
Oh, okay.
Max motion.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Director Harding again, please.
Aye.
Director Reynolds?
Aye.
Director Simonenko?
Aye.
Chairperson Williams?
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0 with 1 absent.
All right, 10E is,
We don't have to, I'm sorry. I guess please can you give me 1 second? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. It said program implementation, but I guess it's all included when we voted on the scholarship program.
I'm
Just
sorry,
the policy and the funding is what we voted.
Yes.
Right? All right, thank you. I just saw 3, that's all. Program implementation, just asking for voting.
We're going to do the new and the old.
Appreciate it.
All right, so 10E is the letter from the County Sacramento Treasury Oversight Committee Special District Representative Election ballots. So, it's basically, in there were 2 little resumes of the 2 that are running. So we have to, is that your job or mine?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
We just have to decide who you thought was the better of the 2 without, obviously, they're not going to come here and give their spill to us. So,
It probably would be nice to have a representative from our Parks and Recreation Special Districts. I don't know either one of these candidates, but
that's why I picked her.
like I said, anytime we can have somebody there that's going to support our interests, I think is a good thing.
Yeah. So I think we make
So you just go ahead and
Make a motion
to nominate one of the.
Did anyone read the resumes or the quick little synopsis that they?
I mean, the synopsis, but
Yeah, they didn't give much, but like Larry said, this Laura gal, she's part of a special district, and you always want to back the small people, as they say, We know Sacramento Fire is a big organization, So I need someone to make a motion.
I agree to nominate, I move to nominate Laura Lavelle.
That's good for me.
All right.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Okay, I'm getting there. Gonna write it down. Director Harding? Aye. Director Reynolds?
I,
Director Semenico?
Aye.
Chairperson Williams?
Aye.
Motion passed, 4-0 for the nomination of Laura Lavelle as one absent.
All right, payment of the bills. I didn't see anything. I thought everything looked pretty normal this time. It almost, I was surprised it was a small one this time.
I was wondering, is there a cost of living increase or anything related to pay that's going to be happening?
As part of the budget, when you approved the budget in June for July for this fiscal year, it included a 3% cost of living adjustment for the full-time staff and also the part-time staff for the upcoming minimum wage hike. However, if you look in the budget report that I presented to you, it should be in your budget, I'm coming back to the board in December to have the board consider one of 2 things, either an additional cost of living increase, because last year the board or the staff did not receive a cost of living. And I talked to several other districts who were kind of did the same thing, and they're kind of doing catch up. And if just bear with me a second, when I first came to the district, our district was in the lower 2 of the 8 as far as pay, and we're not the smallest of we're not the first or second smallest either. And so the board made a concentrated effort to try to get the salaries. We're not going to be at the top, but to get us closer to the middle, because one of the things that's important as staff leave and we go out and recruit new staff is to be able to offer a competitive, to the best of our ability. We understand we have restrictions being a small special district, but on the other hand, the board made a decision, I think it was for 3 years, to do not only cost of living adjustment, but do what we call catch-up. We did there was a salary survey done, and it showed that what it was going to take over a 3-year period to get us to like number 4 or 5 from the bottom. Thank you. We exhausted that, but we now believe, based on a recent salary survey, that isn't completely complete for me to bring to you and say this is going to address our issues. Because one of the things we find out is, and I'm sorry I'm being long-winded with this, but one of the things we find out is, even though we have similar sized districts around us, we don't always use the same titles. We don't always have the same responsibilities. And as a kind of this type of size district that we have, we don't have the luxury of having a lot of employees. So with the employees we have, we ask them to do a lot. So in lieu of the fact that last year that we didn't have this a salary adjustment for the employees, and we don't want to lose ground, I will come back to you in November or December and ask you to consider one, two things. Either do a salary survey, which may take too long to do. I was hoping someone else would do it. Or to make another COLA adjustment. The district can afford to do that, and I think that would help us gain a little bit of ground that maybe we've lost over the last several years. But in answer to your question, Crystal, you did approve a 3% cost of living adjustment as part of the current budget.
I remember seeing that. But I'm, yeah, just interested to, and then, is it an annual evaluation that determines if folks get raises?
Well, there's two things going on. One is a cost of living adjustment, which is basically exactly what it says. It's a cost of living as gas goes up, rent goes up, those things. The cost to employees goes up, and this is intended to address whatever that adjustment was. I think next year it could be substantially larger since we have seen a huge increase in rent and homes and the lack of affordable gas has gone up tremendously. The second part of your question, I'm sorry, I forgot, what was it? Evaluations. Employees are hired and they work on a 5-tier pay scale. So once a year annually, they are to get evaluated, and then based on the evaluation, they then can move from A to B or 1 to 2. I can't remember what our system is. I've worked with so many different ones. But basically, it's a 5-tier system. And so that's how they move into the step increases. But the employees are to get evaluations. And I got to admit that we are behind on a few. I am behind on a few. So we will catch those up in the next couple months. But that's how they receive their step increase.
And then the holidays are coming up, just wondering, does the park district offer bonuses or little incentives for stuff?
Our government
That
agency.
just go above and beyond, or just doing amazing things with their small staff?
You keep on talking about those bonuses, we appreciate that.
Yeah, I'd love to do that, but most government agencies frown on that. I've personally never been a big supporter of it because, you know what, when you do that sort of thing, somebody's always going to feel like they're left out. I'll just give you an example. When I worked for the city of Napa, we had a once a year, and it wasn't for administrators or managers, it was for frontline workers, that we could make a recommendation to the city manager to give them, in addition to the step increase, in addition to the cost of living adjustment, if they did something unique and spectacular that added some benefit to the district, as a director, I could then make a recommendation from 1% to 5% that they could be given. And I have to tell you, the intent was right, but it created a lot of animosity because people do talk and they'll go by and say, "What'd you get?" And you'll say, "Well, I got 5%." And I'm thinking, "I got 1%." Gee. And so we frown on that a little bit. But one of the things we have done. We have, at Christmas time, we do have a Christmas luncheon for all the employees, and we do a kind of a fun thing. It's a white elephant gift exchange, and I buy all the gifts for everybody. They don't know what they are, and so if Bo was to say he was number 1, he goes up and there's going to be a whole table full of wrapped gifts, and trust me.
That's the worst position to be in.
They do not. Whatever they look like in that wrapping, that doesn't mean that's what they are in that wrapping. But I buy the gifts, and then so Bo picks one. He goes, "Oh, this is great. I like this. I got a $25 gift card to Bass Pro or something."
And
then Scott comes up and goes, "Thank you very much. I'll take that from you." But then Bo goes to the table and picks another gift. It makes for a nice, fun interaction. We are able to have a lunch with the staff. We got our fingers crossed that this COVID, hopefully this round 2 of COVID will be substantially past that, so we can do this again. Because I do think the staff does enjoy it, and I got to tell you, I get a kick out of buying the gifts, and I get a kick out of wrapping them, and watching people try to think what's actually in there when they don't have a clue.
Never what you think it is.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. But I appreciate your comment about the bonuses. But we don't do that, but again, like I said, I will come back to you in a few months to have the discussion about if the board is interested in looking at additional compensation for the employees.
And I'm still, please don't forget me that I owe you lunch. I'm just waiting on.
Just so everybody knows, Bo has offered to buy lunch and bring it for all the employees, all the full-time employees.
Yeah, this is for July celebration of Park and Rec.
And unfortunately, it wasn't within a matter of days of Bo making this. In fact, we were looking at picking a date when this new strain came through, and all of a sudden we're back to masking and social distancing, and we agreed that let's put it off a little bit until hopefully things improve. But nobody passes up a free meal around here, Bo.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Whoa, no, we didn't pay the bills.
Yeah, we didn't vote. Oh, I thought we didn't vote.
So he's ready to go.
I'm so sorry. I moved to approve the bill to pay for the bill.
Second.
You got first, who first?
And back second.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
You want me to take the roll?
Right?
Hopefully it doesn't slip.
Director Harding,
Aye.
Director Reynolds,
Aye.
Director Samantha,
Aye.
Chairperson Williams. Motion passed 4-0 with one absent.
Oh, man, I'm sorry for that.
I'll do it again. Hey,
Hey.
next regular board